These are the parts that I have for the water softener. At least the main valve and the components that attaches to the main valve. This is the tube that goes into the brine tank, and this is the hose that is used to connect from the brine tank to the valve. So this is the Pentair or FLECK 5810 XTR2, I think. Again, that's 5810 XTR2. And let me explain a little bit about each one of these components. So this comes all in one piece. This white looks like a filter here. It was separated. I just put this on. Basically, you just put it in. It goes only one way, and then you twist, I think clockwise, for it to lock. And this piece right here is the water input and output. So this is the source from your water source from your house or from your wall, and then this is the one that goes back into your house. So whatever goes back here is the softened water already. And of course, that's the power adapter for this particular unit to operate. It does run on electricity. And this is let me just make sure, it's a 12 volt, 2 amp, 110 to 240. So it doesn't matter what voltage you give it, anywhere between 100 to 240 is fine. And it consumes maximum 24 watts. These are, the connection that goes in here and is tightened with this. And then this side right here is a 1-inch FIP connection that goes to this stainless steel. Tube. This is only 18 inches. That is actually all I need for my installation. So this is 1 inch to 1 inch, because from the wall, I'm also going to use a 1-inch CPVC piping, which I have, I'm going to show you later. And on the brine tank, we have one hole here that this hose is going to go into to provide the brine or the salt for the valve. And then this bottom part, I believe, is just a connector to tighten this part right here to the tank. And these are all the connection that needs to go into this pipe. This pipe uses this kind of like a copper fit compression type of system. And that's it. That's all the parts that is, I don't want to call it inside or internal, but these are all the parts that is small. The other parts that is big are the actual brine tank itself, which is already placed by the location where I want to put the water softener at, and the actual what they call resin tank, which I'm going to show you next. So this is my resin tank. It is approximately about 4.5 feet. So that's about 54 inches. And the brine tank is about probably about 3.5 foot, almost 4 feet. And it is pretty large. These are the holes on the side of the brine tank. So when we put in that white tube that goes in there, the bottom hole is where we tighten it with some kind of nut so that it doesn't move anywhere. And this is my pipe connection. So right now, this house that I'm installing has this pipe already pre-plumbed, they call it. So basically, this is where the water comes in from the city. And right now, I have this connection here that goes into my water distiller. This is for my drinking water. So I can turn this off, and then the plan is for me to actually cut somewhere around here I'm gonna cut, and that's gonna connect to this pipe here, and then this pipe on this side is gonna connect here. This is going to be a bypass, meaning if I do need to service the water softener in the future and I need to basically unhook this particular side, well, I won't be unhooking here because then the water will still be coming out, but I would be turning off those two valves that is from the FLECK water softener. Remember, there's a incoming and an outgoing valve. I'm gonna have to shut those two, which means that there will be no water flowing here or here. That means that the water will be forced to flow through here. So I'm gonna open this valve, which allows the water to completely bypass the FLECK system, and it doesn't go into the water softener then. So that would allow me to service the FLECK, or repair the FLECK water softener if I need to, and still have water running through the house, so that people living in the house do not have to be without water while we're repairing the FLECK system. So this is the plan. This pipe right here, this is the drain that is going to be used. There will be a drain that would be coming out of this nut hole here that goes to the drain. Basically, it's an overflow prevention, so that in case there's a backflow from the water softener and it goes back to the brine, it will never overflow so that it's gonna get the floor wet. It will always try to go to this drain hole first, which then will be draining there. The water softener itself does have a drain at the back of it, which I will show you later during the install, and that is going to also have a hose that will drain to here, and I will show you that how to install that later. Okay, so right now the pipe is all cut off. So this is where the water comes in from the city, and it used to bypass directly, so water just goes around to here, and I just cut it off so that we can do the connection here. And this is the drain. I also have opened up the drain pipe by cutting it off. The actual excess pipe where the drain was capped off is here. That's where the pipe that I cut off there. Alright, so next I'm going to do the bypass connection here, so that we can have a valve to do the bypass, and finish installing. I've got the bypass valve installed, and also the pipe now coming out with the 1-inch FIP on both sides. So once again, the water is going to be coming from the city from here. Don't worry about this part. You're not gonna have this part probably in your house. This is for my water distiller. I do get water before, well, I wanted it to be before any of this salination or softening. So this is all these water here that is tapped here is before the water softening. And once it goes here, it can bypass, or it can go to the water softener, and this is where the water softener is going to be, and then the water, the softened water is going back on this particular pipe and going back to there. So in a normal operation, I would actually be turning this valve this way, so it will be blocked. So water will not come here, water will come out here into the water softener, go back in here once it's softened with the salt into the house, so that going into the house will be softened water. If I need to service the water softener here, I would turn the valve to bypass at the water softener both to off, and then I would turn this valve here to on, which is like this, so that the water will flow here, so that I can service or repair the water softener without having the water to the house completely cut off. So keep in mind, why is that important? Is because if you have the water completely cut off, you have no water for any of the faucet, like sink, kitchen sink, restroom sink, even your toilet, your commode, shower. None of that can happen. So that's why this is important to have, so that you can bypass and you can still repair, or if you need to do work here, you can do so. Yep, that's where we are so far. Next thing I'm going to do is to connect the actual valve to here, and then connect it up all together with the brine tank. This part right here is supposed to go into this hole here. There's a, let me see if I can show you. There's a tube here in the middle that's gonna go inside here, inside in the middle into here. Okay, so when you put this in, you make sure that you remove this first. There was a cap here. Remove that, put it aside or throw it away, and you put it right in the middle, and it goes right in like that. And make sure that well, actually I forgot to tell you that, make sure that there's a rubber o-ring around the top here. Make sure that there is grease or lubricant around it. It came lubricated for mine, so mine is fine. Make sure that this is completely level, and when you're screwing this down clockwise, this is supposed just to be hand tightened, and it should be very effortless. Look, I'm just using, it's very light, not supposed to have any resistance, and you're just gonna keep turning it until it's tight, and then just hand tighten this. Okay, because you have the rubber o-ring, you don't have to tighten this very much. Just regular tightness, just like that. And now rotate it around so that it would be like that. Okay. Okay, the next thing we want to do is attach this part right here to the unit, like so. This part is all self-contained. There's nothing you need to do. All you need to do is just line it up and just tighten it, just like that. Okay, don't tighten one completely tight before you tighten the other, meaning like just balance it, because this needs to be even when they go in. Again, this is just hand tighten. Don't use a wrench. There's a rubber or plastic gasket inside that keeps this leak proof, just by hand tightening, just like that. Hatch this part right here. This is the came with two parts. Try not to touch and make the rubber o-ring dirty. So you just put this in like so, and put it in here and screw clockwise. By the way, I also put a sealing tape right here already before I tighten this. So you don't need to tighten this very much, because again, there's a rubber o-ring inside. So just hand tightening will be enough. Next, I want to make sure that these are closed so that we're not going to have any surprises when we first turn it on. you want to turn it on slowly. So make sure that these are in a close. I just got everything except for the brine line and the drain plugged. Everything else is actually already plugged in or screwed in. So let me explain once again all these different parts. So starting from the water flowing in, currently the bypass valve is closed. So this is for full operation of the water softener, meaning we're using the water softener right now. That's the mode here. That we're blocking the bypass. So the water will flow here up here into the input side and goes into the water softener. It will get mixed in with the brine, and it will come out on the other side here, and these two valves will be open in the open direction. So so don't worry about that. Right now they're on the closed position because I haven't turned it on yet. But again, the water is coming in from here, gets mixed in with the salt, comes out this way, and it comes in to this stainless steel pipe right here and comes back out into the house, already softened. So that's the flow of the water. Currently, the next thing we need to do is to hook up the brine line and the drain. The brine line is going to be hooked up to the brine tank or the salt tank, which I haven't installed yet, which is going to be right here. So I'm gonna get that and then hook it up with the water softener. Okay, so this is the tube that's going to go inside the brine tank. There's these two holes here is going to match up with these two holes right here. So there's a notch inside the brine tank where the bottom of the brine tube is going to go into. So make sure that this is not just positioned anywhere. The bottom part is not positioned anywhere inside the tank. There's actually a place where it goes to. So that's the hole have to match up right here. Make sure that you can see that. See, these two holes need to match up. And there's this drain, I guess outlet. It has a nut that you're going to use in the inside. So let me explain this real quick. So this part is going to be on the outside. It came in like this. There's a rubber gasket or rubber seal here. That's going to be in the inside. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to put this in through the plastic tube inside, and I'm going to fasten it with the rubber gasket on the inside, and then the nut from the inside. Okay, so so my drain plug, I guess, it's been installed. So it helps actually when you're installing this for you to be turning this clockwise as you are having your hand in there and holding the nut with my right hand. My left hand is actually turning this clockwise. It helps a lot. So the next hole up here is going to be used with this line here, which has this connector inside, and that's just gonna go in here, and but before it does that, it has to go inside this tube here. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video. Okay, so for this part here, all you have to do is put this hose into the hole. And I'm talking about this hole here, so put it inside that hole, and I'm going to try to do this with one hand here. Excuse the camera angle. So put in the hole, and you want to put the end of this nut, this side here, into it through the hose and pull it back some, probably about an inch, and then put the hose inside that nozzle inside there, completely all the way in, and just make sure that you put it all the way in until you can't go anymore, and then tighten the screw. The screw just needs to be hand tightened. It doesn't need to be sealed or anything like that. I forgot what this is called. If you know what this is, what this system is called, I think it's called the compression system or something like that in plumbing. Not sure why it doesn't leak, but trust me, this system does work and it doesn't leak. Somehow when it's all the way in there, I think there's like a nylon or something like that that compresses against the that copper that is in the pipe that causes it to seal, and this is not going to leak. So just hand tighten this as tight as you can, and you're gonna be good to go. Like that. Okay, so on this side is the same thing. Basically, I just have the nut that was originally inside the bag of parts. I just put it in here, and then this is just going to plug directly into that brine inlet or input right there. There is a way to easily disconnect this plug here. You just take this out, and then now you can easily unplug this, but it's not really necessary. So I'm just going to put this back and then put this back so that this cannot come out. The reason why that doesn't leak is because there's a rubber O-ring again there that keeps it from leaking for an easy removal. So all you have to do is again put this pipe or hose all the way in and screw in until it's hand tight. Actually, I decided to remove it from the nice, I just dropped the pin. Alright, I'll get that later. I just decided to remove this from the softener because as I was tightening this thing, the inside keeps moving, it keeps rotating, and you don't want to do that because the O-ring, the rubber O-ring will wear out if you keep on rotating. So make sure that if it rotates, you take it out and tighten it here by hand like this until you're satisfied, and then put it back in. That should be good. For the drain, I'm just going to use a garden hose. The connector here is actually the same thread and the same size, which is 3/4 inch as a garden hose connector. So you can just I have plenty of used cheap garden hose. This one is kinked over here. I'm probably gonna replace it later on with a better one, but it just goes into my drain just like that, and it goes up through there. And this thing, same thing like the brine inlet. You can remove this entire piece here by pulling out this pin. So this pin goes in here to lock it. You pull it out to unlock it, and you can take this completely out like that, and it has a rubber O-ring, and then you put it in and you can lock it with the pin again, just like that. Okay, so just hand tighten this because there is a rubber gasket in every garden hose. That's the way that it's been designed, and make sure there's no kink, and that should be it. And then the brine tank also needs to have a drain, so I'm going to get a 1/2 inch barb, a 1/2 inch inner diameter tube that goes from here to inside the drain there, and yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do later. Okay, so I got my brine tank filled with about I would say about 200 pounds worth of salt pellet. So it took up only about, say about 30% of the tank. And I'm filling it up with water right now. Just a regular garden hose water. And I'm gonna fill up probably about the same level to submerge all the salt pellet under the water. And that's probably gonna be about, I don't know, somewhere around 10 gallons of water. And that's it. I'm gonna have another video describing how to program the Flex 5810 control panel here at another video, and how to also monitor it, maybe even how to connect it to a computer, not sure. But thank you for watching. If you find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. And in case you were wondering, I am actually gluing, and I have the ratchet to make sure that the pipe stays connected. That's why I have all these crazy things on the pipe. And but anyway, everything is working great. It's operational. The valves are open, as you can see. There's no leak. I'm just gonna leave that there for another week for precaution. This is what the final install looks like. As you can see, the pipes are intact by itself with nothing holding it. And so I'm just continue filling up the water. Again, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you find it useful and know somebody else that may find it useful, please share the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel to see more do-it-yourself video like these and support my channel. Thank you.